What's up, everyone? Welcome to this edition of the GASOCast. I'm here with Lyndon Cook. We're recapping yesterday. Eventful day down here in San Antonio at the GASO Fall Tour. What were your initial thoughts?
You know, we talk about it a lot. It's a really good time for San Antonio basketball right now. You got high-level programs all over the place, high-level matchups we got to see from beginning to end of the day, and there's a lot of prospects that have futures playing scholarship basketball in San Antonio right now.
Yeah, I think my initial thought was I wrote about on X. Do we call it X or Twitter?
I don't know, man.
Let's call it Twitter. Who cares, Elon? It's just the depth. Like when you look at a list, if you just put a list of San Antonio teams on paper, naturally your eye gravitates to certain programs. Mm-hmm. But now there's programs all over that You're like, oh, these teams have 2 and 3 dudes that can really play.
Yeah.
The city's stacking up classes. 2027s emerged yesterday. 26s, 25, the 2024 leaders and the leaders of the pack are emerging and putting on. It's just a really good time for the region, South and Central Texas in general.
Yeah.
And being from here, you know, I'm so excited for it.
Right.
You spoke about matchups. Let's go into a little game spotlight. If you want to watch this spotlight, it's on our YouTube channel, Tech Soups TV. But Lake Travis and Brennan, one of the ones when we're building the schedule, we're like, yeah, people want to see this. Let's give it to them. The fun thing was Kingston Fleming and Hudson Greer were talking on social media about it, like getting excited to play each other. And that's what you want. You want these guys are all friends. They play with each other in the summer. They see each other often. But, you know, they want to compete, and they were excited for that moment.
You know, it's always electric in the gym. I mean, we had packed sidelines on both sides, full baselines. When you have 2 of the top 3 kids in a class going head-to-head, and they were guarding each other, and both delivered, you know, their own brand of spectacular performance. You know, it was a tight-fought battle in the first half especially. Then Cam Cowgill gets hot from 3, was just walking into him with no conscience, knocking shots down.
Yeah.
And so Brennan ended up pulling out the win. But, you know, both these teams were missing pieces for it being so early. And, you know, both these teams have extremely high ceilings.
No, absolutely.
We're talking about long-term implications.
Yeah, this is what you want in the fall. You want to see the best compete against the best, and with Hudson and Kingston going at it, it was a fun matchup, and Kingston found out right away, hey, to win this game, I'm going to have to box out this freak. And that's what he decided to do early on that game to kind of shift the momentum back. It was keep Hudson Greer off the glass. Yeah. Hudson still got a crazy one, and you can see that on Tech Soups TV on our social media. But fun game, excited for both those programs. Region 4 is as hot as ever right now. So let's get into some guys that we loved. We've talked about a lot of programs and players on social media already, so follow all of our social media platforms, your Twitter, my Twitter, Tech Soups Gaso. But let's jump right into it. Who you got?
Caleb Steger. Dallas Jesuit comes down to play some Central Texas teams, and you know exactly, you know, when he shows up what you're going to get out of him. You know, he's going to be that vocal leader on the court. He's going to check all the boxes as a scorer. And when the chips are down and you need a shot, he's going to come up big for you. And he did that yesterday in that game against Harlan, where he hit one of the toughest shots I've seen all day, falling basically out into his own bench with a deep 3. You know, and with him, Will Bronson, Trey Mergerson, this team kind of looks like a sleeper up there in that tough region.
Facts, I agree. A guy that I loved, Aiden Richard, San Antonio Reagan. At 9 a.m. when you're 2024 Division I committing leaders diving for loose balls to set the tone, that bodes well for your program. San Antonio Reagan, well coached, a lot of pieces that I really liked, and his just ability to execute out of the triple threat, and his pace, his feel for the game. He knows who he is as a player. That's who you want to be your leader and go to war with. So he really showed up and showed out.
Yeah. You know, another. We've been talking about how San Antonio is deep, and we got multiple teams that have college-level guys on them. I mean, and for me, John Jay is one of those teams. You know,
yeah, that's one of those teams we talk about when you look at names of teams in San Antonio. Jay in the last couple of years not necessarily has been a standout. Well, they're here and they're for real.
Yeah, and it starts with Cam Garza. He was electric yesterday. Just getting to his spots so easily, making the game look fun, and his teammates kind of taking part of that. Zach Linson with that length came out hot in their first game and was knocking down shots, and just one of those guys you don't really know what to expect from him game to game, but when he's out there showing off that versatility, showing off his shooting touch from the outside, you're like, okay, that kid's a player.
Facts.
And then with Elijah Baldwin inside, I mean, this team is dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. They're one of my favorite teams to watch. Zaire Williams, East Central, another one of those guys that I just love more and more every time I watch. I mean, just impossible to box out.
Right.
And he knows that, and he craves. He's just a perfect target. A lot of guards on the East Central team that know how to attack and find him. And when they drop it off, they know it's going to be an assist for a dunk. And that's just electric. The body, he's just one of those guys that's going to be a nightmare for anybody that plays him every night, and that you have to game plan for him because he can do so much.
We give a lot of pub to this 25-26 class in Central Texas especially, and it's well-deserved because they have some real hoopers. But one of those guys who has been on a tear basically every time I've seen him, going back to the Two Cities, One GASO tip-off in Houston when I saw him, is Mason Thomas or Komal Piper. This kid, I mean, he almost redefines the adjective productive because he does everything. He rebounds, he defends, he blocks shots, he runs the court, and on offense, he will punish you as a defender. He finds contact so well. He's going to foul out every 5-man on the opposing team if you let him, because he catches it at the elbow and it's one dribble move and he's trying to dunk on somebody. And, I think he had 28 in the first game, like 29 in the second game, got cut under his eye, but he, comes over, finds the trainer, gets right back in there and continues to just put up numbers. I mean, he's got to be in that same conversation with a lot of these top-level dudes in that 26 class.
No, he's when we talk about how stacked these classes are, he's one of the reasons why San Antonio continues to have talent, 25s, 26, 27s. Oh, yeah. And in a couple years, like when he's a senior, I mean, the city's going to be really on fire. Mm-hmm. Judson Lowe in Dripping Springs. As a highlight guy, I know that Judson Lowe, I wouldn't even call him sneaky athletic because that's not fair. Mm-hmm. But, like, he does some things where you're like, oh, I didn't know he could jump like that.
Yeah, the kid's got us.
Yeah, he has bounce. So I went over there hoping to see what I could see. Instead, I just saw him hit like 3 or 4 threes in a row and just completely unconscious scoring the ball. Dripping Springs, man, they're going to be good. And he's one of those guys, college coaches, 6'3", long, great motor. I mean, he's hitting threes and running all the way back on defense, calling out orders and things like that. Just one of those just leaders that you can really rely on and trust, and he stood out.
Yeah. Other side of the Brennan Lake Travis matchup, I mean, Hudson Greer is who he is. He's a top-level guy. But the guy who stood out for Lake Travis as an evaluator yesterday was Chaz Beagle. I mean, I sent out a tweet yesterday talking about, he's got the Showtime passing bag because he is –
Facts.
I mean, it's here, it's here, and then it's in somebody's hands for a layup.
It's here.
Yeah. I mean, he's got every pass that you could potentially make on a basketball court down, and it's not like he's just a distributor. He's out there getting buckets too, and it's 6'5", 6'6", being able to break down his defender, get into his mid-range, get to the rim and finish. I mean, that really bodes well for what he's going to be at the next level.
For me, one of the point guards I love in the city is Eric Goodman of San Antonio Marshall. He just glides up and down the court, makes every play look effortlessly. Effortless?
Yeah.
Effortlessly?
Close enough.
How do I say effortlessly in a sentence? He makes every play look effortless.
Yeah. Just do it.
He's a smooth operator. He doesn't over dribble. He knows how to get into the paint and kick out. He knows how to get to the rim. Just a good blend. And when you have players around that are relying on him kind of to run the show and get them open shots, he's finding all the guys for high-level shots. And that's what I want on the floor general. And he's, I think, one of the more underrated guards in San Antonio.
Yeah. We talk about the 9 a.m. games because, a lot of times it's hard to wake up and get yourself in that zone when you're playing that early, especially if you're playing against top-level competition. But Austin St. Michael's didn't have any issues with that.
True.
Bo Ogden shows up, and he's doing exactly what we come to expect from him. He's playing above the rim. He's hitting every shot he can from the outside with just great balance, just springiness all over his game. But the guy who really kind of just stood out to me with that team, with that Reagan matchup at 9 a.m. was Shogjin Call, because he was being aggressive, getting to the rim, like he would find contact and go finish.
Multiple and ones.
And when you throw in Aiden Dessou with that three-headed monster that they have on offense, I mean, that is a dangerous team with a lot of talent.
Got to be one of the favorites in that TAPS division. Yeah,
for sure,
right?
For sure.
For me, two kids from Wagner, Marcus Johnson, Mace McGowan. Wagner just looks like a more mature team, just more efficient and just no nonsense. They fly up and down the court, but they have pieces to be really efficient with what they're doing. So if their philosophy is going to be we want as many positions as possible, Marcus Johnson and Mason are going to be two guys that are going to really lead the charge. Mason setting the tone, shooting the three. One of the prettiest shot releases in the state.
Yeah.
Liable to hit 4, 5, 6 threes in a game. And then Marcus Johnson able to just go downhill, create contact, finish through contact, get to the free throw line. Just one of those guys, when you have multiple possessions in the game like they want and crave, these two guys, you want the ball in their hand because they're going to make something good happen.
Yeah. Last guy that I really want to focus on here was Jack Siders for Westlake. Wonder Cahosi was really good for them again. He can make decisions in their offense, but Jack Siders, his ability to stretch the floor and go get putbacks and offensive boards. We saw him a lot this summer, and every time I see him, I'm like, there's a player there. The kid he's figuring it out, and once it all comes together, he's going to command a lot of attention. He's starting to figure it out. He really has, and his ability to keep defenders honest by making sure that they can't take away, just completely go into the paint and not worry about him out there. They have to get a hand up because he was knocking them down yesterday, and he was kind of the standout. You talk about them being the standard for Central Texas in a program. They've been to state how many times in the last however long. But he kind of was the guy who makes me think, they're always going to be a super tough team to game plan for, a super tough team to execute against, but their upside is kind of where he is able to shoot the ball, because he looked really good yesterday doing that.
Absolutely. Well, we've had plenty of content all over social media. Continue to follow us to see more breakdowns of games, names, teams. I'll just say this, the city of San Antonio is buzzing right now. And from fans, the coaches, the players, it's a really good time in the city. And being from here, I'm very proud of that. So I'm just looking forward to see who makes the noise as the season goes along. But for Michael Timmins, Lyndon Cook, this is the GASOcast. We'll talk to you soon.